some shots.
45 blocks last year. Clark for three.
Defend and stop other teams from scoring.
Well, last year Indiana was 10th in pace. Christy Sides telling us Clark.
Some games are like classic movies. You remember them for the big moments, the close calls, the jaw-dropping plays. But then there are those games that are like, well, like Caitlin Clark. These are the games where she wasn't just playing. She was utterly dominating her competition. Starting with a classic matchup against Michigan, Caitlin Clark, feeling the rhythm or something, decided to teach her defender a little dance lesson. And you know what? Her defender was all about it. They were grooving and moving, and then bam! Caitlin drops a bomb from the logo.
Davis, time winding down. Are they gonna get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! Yeah!
And just like that, Michigan was sent home with their tails between their legs. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, was strutting off the court like a boss with a cool 40 points. Talk about a statement game. But if you thought that was impressive, just wait until you see what she transitioned to the WNBA. The stakes were sky high, and the competition was fierce, but did that slow Caitlin down? Absolutely not. For her grand debut, she went full superhero mode. Coast to coast, she blew past defenders like they were traffic cones. It was insane.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in. Here are the first points.
Bonner's hands were up, but it was too late. Caitlin Clark had already left her in the dust. But Bonner wasn't the first to learn that going up against Caitlin is no easy task. You know, Caitlin's a magnet for trouble on the court. People love to test her, but they quickly learn their lesson. Remember that game against Phoenix Mercury? Sophie Cunningham thought she could get away with a little shove, but Caitlin turned it around and scored the basket.
Everything but the bucket that time from Phoenix.
Good job by Cunningham to quickly get on Clark.
Clark sinks the screen and got the layup and one.
That's the Caitlin Clark effect for you. You can't stop her, not even with a little extra physicality. Speaking of the Caitlin Clark effect, let's talk about Allen's run-in with it. During one play, Caitlin decided it was time for Allen to take a break, basketball style. As she launched a three-pointer, Allen could only sit back and watch.
From Rebecca Allen. Clark, oh, she dropped Allen. One more look at it.
I mean, this is just...
The shot didn't fall, but hey, at least Allen got a free front row seat to the Caitlin Clark shooting clinic. And then there was that epic showdown with Sabrina Ionescu and the Liberty. Can you imagine breaking records while someone's watching who's also trying to break records? That's what Caitlin did. She didn't just play the game, she taught a masterclass. She got a triple-double that Sabrina couldn't even manage her rookie year.
And the first triple-double for a rookie, Caitlin Clark has it! Into her pro career already.
The crowd was going wild, and Sabrina could only watch in amazement as Caitlin rewrote the record books. That's how it's done, guys. When the stakes are high, Caitlin's a different beast. And don't think her dominance was just for the WNBA. Back in Iowa, she was practically daring opponents to shoot. She gave Raven Johnson so much space, it was like she was inviting her to take the shot.
And look at how far Caitlin Clark is playing off of Raven Johnson. Daring her.
Johnson hesitated, and Clark was like, nah, never mind. Go ahead and take your shot. I'm not scared.
Shoot the basketball. Watch Caitlin Clark, left side. She doesn't even look at her. Waves her hand as if to say, I don't care about you. I'm not defending you.
That's a level of disrespect that's both savage and entertaining. And speaking of Iowa Clark, we can't forget those epic matchups with LSU. Remember after the 2023 NCAA Finals? Reese from LSU flashed her ring and gave Clark that "you can't see me" taunt.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
That taunt really stung, didn't it? But karma's a B** teach, and she had a score to settle. Fast forward to 2024, and it was time for the rematch. Iowa versus LSU, Clark versus Reese. This wasn't just any game. It was a chance for Caitlin to prove herself. And boy, did she deliver. She was a total beast on the court, scoring 41 points, dishing out 12 assists, and hitting 9 three-pointers. She was single-handedly carrying Iowa's team, contributing to 80% of their field goals. It was an absolute clinic.
Pure defensive boards. LSU, an outstanding offensive rebounding team.
Clark connects! Who drew 2 offensive fouls on Clark in last year's national championship game.
She has more size and length.
Clark, you bet! Backcourt, Martin gets it ahead. Iowa with numbers. Here's Clark. Catch, fire, and hit. Final 4 at stake. Clark was trying to redirect a pass. Clark, oh my! Clark wheels around, evades Van Lith, and drains it.
After that game, the LSU players were probably like, wow, did we just witness that? Clark was dodging defenders like they were nothing. Reese tried to stop her, but it was like trying to stop a runaway train with your bare hands. Clark's three-pointer just sailed right through the net, no problem.
Here's Martin. Clark, again coming off the screens. Clark steps back, fires, you bet!
Times when you just can't avoid talking about length, hand in her face.
Talk about a moment of helpless spectatorship. Haley Van Lith was also chasing Clark all over the court, only to see Clark hit another incredible three-pointer. Haley's face was probably a mix of awe and disbelief. It was a moment where you couldn't help but be amazed.
Here's Clark. Clark pulls up, another deep one is good!
Caitlin Clark once again dancing with the basketball, seeing it go through.
But Caitlin Clark wasn't just dominating her opponents. She was even getting under the referee's skin. After draining a huge three-pointer, Clark was slapped with a technical foul for taunting.
Hawks have already scored more points there in this game than in that loss.
It really comes down to what she said. If she
correct,
because of the proximity to UNI's bench, they're not going to.
Seeing her coach about to get into a heated debate with the ref, Caitlin stepped in like a seasoned diplomat. She gently but firmly guided her coach away, basically saying, "Chill, coach, I got this."
They're just not going to let you get away with that, but we'll never know. I can't read her lips.
A few seconds later, she snatches the ball, makes her own space, and then takes a step-back three-pointer that had everyone in the arena going crazy, maybe even the ref.
Basketball. Little inside out, and it's good. Clark again.
And speaking of big shots, who could forget Caitlin Clark's epic duel against Maryland back when she was at Iowa? It was one of those moments where you just knew something amazing was going to happen. Clark got the ball beyond the three-point line, faked out her defender with a sneaky pump fake, and hit her signature three-pointer. Nothing but net.
Her roommate, Clark, pump fake, rises, and...
And that was just a warm-up for what she did against South Carolina, where she took on an entire undefeated team and completely dominated them. It felt like something out of a movie. South Carolina hadn't lost a game all season, but they met their match in Caitlin. She was all over the court, scoring points, making plays, and basically running the show. In the first half alone, she was responsible for almost 3/4 of Iowa's points. And even though she didn't get a triple-double, she didn't need to. Her 41 points were enough to beat South Carolina, and that was the only loss they had in 2 years.
And both of these teams very willing and capable of pushing in transition and scoring quickly.
Here's Clark working around Fletcher. Caitlin Clark has Cook off to a terrific start here in the semifinals. Clark will fire.
Clark absolutely flushed an entire championship contender. So we've talked a lot about her scoring, but let's not forget that she's also a beast of a playmaker. Her court vision is almost as deadly as her shooting. Against the Aces, she showed us exactly what I mean. The Sparks got a little sleepy on defense, and Clark was wide awake. She threw this insane pass to Wallace, and the Sparks were just watching in disbelief as the ball zipped right past them and landed perfectly for an easy score.
What a pass. And Wallace.
But what about her defense? Did you catch that incredible block against Seattle? Caitlin Clark was on fire after returning from the Olympic break, scoring points, dishing out assists, and even setting a new league record. But one of the standout moments was her play against the Seattle Storm. While guarding Sammy Whitcomb, Clark denied her a drive to the basket with a spectacular block.
So right here, Sammy, it looks like she's turned the corner, and then from that angle, if you were the baseline official, it looks clean, but that is what we saw.
And that wasn't the only time she put on a show against Samantha Whitcomb. She dribbled effortlessly around Whitcomb, making her spin and slide all over the court. It was like a dance, but instead of music, you heard the squeak of Whitcomb's shoes on the floor.
Had an open look from three, didn't take it. Only 3 to shoot. Gonna have to make something happen. Clark through the lane, reverses it in, and beats the shot.
Now, for something truly unbelievable. Let's go back to this one crazy game against Michigan. Clark was just a few points away from shattering the NCAA women's scoring record, but instead of just breaking it, she wanted to own it. She started the game on fire, scoring the first 8 points with a go big or go home attitude. And then, get this. To seal the deal, she hit a buzzer-beating three-pointer from half court. Not a layup, not an easy shot. She went for the spectacular, the jaw-dropping, the history-making shot that everyone will be talking about for years to come.
Without them being able to contest.
Anna Stolke posting up, but you know who they go to. 20! Recovered by Gabby Marshall. Here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
She went on to break even more records, like surpassing Pistol Pete Maravich's overall scoring record and Stephen Curry's single-season three-point record. And just when you thought she couldn't get any more impressive, she broke the record for most points scored in a single season and the most career three-pointers in the NCAA women's tournament. She was a total superstar, always putting on a show with her incredible shooting and passing. From winning national awards to breaking records, she's left an unbelievable legacy in women's college basketball. And speaking of jaw-dropping moments, this girl doesn't need a warm-up. She's game ready the instant she steps onto the court. Take that time against Ohio State, for instance. She hit a three-pointer from way beyond the logo, leaving her defender in stunned disbelief, like, did I just see that?
See Ohio State do attack off of your defense. Get out and run. There's so much opportunity in transition. Caitlin Clark needs no space. Shakova got back on defense after scoring. Little screen there by Martin.
Well, she brought that same energy to the WNBA. The Colorado players were intent on packing the paint, but Clark was like, hold my beer. With a calm demeanor, she stepped back and launched another three-pointer from well beyond the logo. No hesitation, no second thoughts, just pure confidence. It's as if the farther she is from the basket, the better she becomes.
One of their last 7, and that was a big one. Clark, can she answer?
Against the Suns, Clark decided to show them who's boss. She hit a three-pointer from the logo that was so deep, the Suns players were probably still trying to figure out what happened. She was in another zone, launching that shot like it was nothing.
Bonner gets denied by Boston. Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Now, picture this. You're Richards from the Washington Mystics. You just come into the game, and what's the first thing you see? Caitlin Clark launching a three-pointer from the logo that knocks you off your feet. Literally. Welcome to the WNBA, courtesy of the one and only Caitlin Clark.
Here's Clark. Picked up now by Dee Richards as she's into the ball game. Richards on the floor. Clark, the step back three just below the logo.
From hitting unbelievable shots to stopping defenders in their tracks, Caitlin Clark is a force to be reckoned with. She's one of the most exciting players in basketball history. Whether she's leaving defenders in the dust or sinking impossible threes, she's always making headlines. So that's it for today, guys. Which of these moments is your favorite featuring Caitlin Clark? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button.